The sky was clear over New York when it happened. People were going about their day, kids heading to school, workers rushing to offices, coffee shops opening for business. Then, without warning, everything changed. A low hum filled the air. It started soft, like the sound of wind through trees. But it grew quickly, turning into something deeper, heavier. People looked up, phones came out, and there it was, a massive object hanging above the city. It was not a plane. It was not a satellite. It was something else. The ship was long and dark, shaped like a blade. Its surface shimmered with colors that did not seem natural. It floated silently, casting a shadow over Manhattan. Soon more ships appeared, dozens, then hundreds, all over the planet. They had come from nowhere. No radar saw them coming. No telescope tracked them. One moment Earth was alone in space, the next it was not. People panicked. Governments scrambled. Scientists tried to make sense of what they were seeing. Was it an invasion? A visit? A test? Then the message came. It was not sent by radio or TV. It was placed directly into every major communication system on Earth, satellites, internet, even old telephones. It was short and clear. We are the Varkari conquered. We bring peace, do not resist. That one sentence spread across the world like fire. Some people cheered, others cried. Most just stared at their screens, unsure what to think. In Washington, D.C., inside a secure bunker under the Pentagon, a meeting was already underway. Generals, scientists, diplomats, and politicians sat around a large table. They watched the alien ships hover above Earth's major cities. Commander Karen Bell was one of the few military officers allowed in the room. She was tall, calm, and had spent most of her life preparing for war. Now she was being asked to prepare for peace. They say they come in peace, said one diplomat. But why so many ships? They're not here to fight, another replied. They want to talk. Karen stayed quiet. She didn't trust easy answers. On the screen, footage played from around the world. Ships hovered over Beijing, London, Moscow, Sydney, Nairobi, Rio de Janeiro. Everywhere. Watching. Then came the face. It was not human, not close. It had a long head like a praying mantis with 4 eyes and thin limbs. It wore armor covered in glowing symbols. Its voice came through translators, but the tone was unmistakable, calm, confident, and slightly amused. I am Vark Tel, High Envoy of the Varkari conquered, it said. Your species has reached a level of technological maturity. You are now invited to join the galactic community. Silence followed. Then the questions began. Who were the Varkari? What did they want? Why now? And most importantly, what would happen if Earth said no? Karen watched as the leaders debated. Some wanted to accept immediately. Others urged caution. A few whispered about weapons, defenses, and escape plans. She knew one thing. Humans were not ready for this. But the Varkari did not wait for humanity to catch up. They gave a date, 3 days from now, for a formal meeting. On that day, Earth would show its strength. In return, the Varkari would do the same. It was called a mutual demonstration, a way to understand each other's power. But Karen read between the lines. This was a test, and tests could be failed. 3 days later, the world held its breath. The meeting took place aboard Liberty 1, a massive orbital station built by the United Nations Space Command. It was the largest human structure in space, a symbol of unity, science, and defense. Inside the station, preparations were intense. Every corridor buzzed with activity. Soldiers checked weapons. Scientists ran last-minute simulations. Diplomats rehearsed speeches. Lieutenant Ethan Cole stood near the main observation deck. He was young, barely 30, but already respected among his peers. He wasn't a politician or a scientist, just a soldier assigned to security detail. Still, he felt the weight of the moment. Outside the window, the alien ships loomed, dozens of them sleek and deadly looking. They moved in perfect formation like dancers in a silent ballet. Ethan swallowed hard. They look fast, he muttered. Beside him, his friend and fellow officer, Lieutenant Dana Reyes, nodded. They look like they could vaporize us before we blinked, she said. But we're not here to fight, just to show off. Ethan frowned. Show off what? Our toy ships and outdated tech? Dana smirked. Maybe we've got something hidden. Ethan shook his head. I hope so. Otherwise, we're walking into a trap. Their commander, Colonel James Holloway, walked up behind them. You two done talking? He asked. Yes, sir, they both said. He looked out the window. His face was unreadable. We don't know what they're really after, he said, but we have to play along, at least for now. The meeting began soon after. Barktel arrived first, escorted by 6 guards. Each guard was taller than a man, wrapped in armor that shifted color depending on the light. They carried weapons that made human rifles look like toys. Behind them came the human delegation, led by Ambassador Rachel Moore, a woman known for her sharp mind and sharper tongue. She greeted Barktel politely, but her body language was tense. The aliens wasted no time. They showed videos of their battleships in action, ships slicing through asteroids, destroying enemy drones, protecting colonies from asteroid storms. Each video ended with the same message. The Varkari Concord ensures peace through strength. When the videos ended, it was Earth's turn. Rachel stepped forward. We welcome the Varkari to our world, she said. We will now show our own capabilities. The screen lit up. Footage rolled of Earth's best ships, the Freedom-class destroyers, the Sentinel cruisers, the new orbital defense platforms. There were drone displays, missile tests, and simulated battle scenarios. It was impressive, yes, but compared to what the aliens had shown, it looked small, weak, primitive. As the video ended, silence filled the room. Then Barktel spoke. It is admirable, he said, for a young species. There was no insult in his voice, only fact. Rachel smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Thank you, she said. We hope to learn from your experience. Barktel tilted his head. Perhaps, or perhaps you should simply follow our guidance. Another silence. Karen Bell watched from the back of the room. Her jaw tightened. She understood what just happened. The Varkari weren't offering friendship. They were offering control. And Earth had just been told how far behind it was. Later that night, Karen met with a small group of military leaders in a private chamber. This changes everything, she said. They see us as children playing with knives. Colonel Holloway crossed his arms. What do? Karen looked at the others. We prepare, we study, and we hide nothing. Dr. Lena Cruz, a lead scientist, leaned forward. We've been working on the Aegis project for years. If we reveal it now... Karen nodded. We reveal it now. Ethan listened quietly. He didn't know what the Aegis project was, but from the way they spoke, it was big. Sir, he said finally, if we're hiding something, maybe it's time to stop hiding. Karen looked at him. You're right, she said. Because if we don't show them who we really are, they'll never respect us. Back on Earth, the world reacted. Some celebrated the arrival of aliens. Others feared it. Protests broke out in some cities. Conspiracy theories flooded the internet. But in secret labs beneath mountains and oceans, engineers worked late into the night. Ships were being built. Weapons were being tested. Plans were being made. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the lunar base, a single ship powered up for the first time. Its hull was black. Its engines silent. Its AI smarter than anything ever created. It was not meant to be seen yet. But soon, the galaxy would see what humans were truly capable of. The demonstration was over, but the message it sent echoed across Earth like thunder. The Varkari had shown their power with cold precision. Ships slicing through asteroids, drones moving in perfect formation, weapons vaporizing targets before they even knew what hit them. It wasn't just a show, it was a warning. They were better, and worse still, they weren't hiding it. Back on Liberty One, the mood among the human delegation was grim. Diplomats whispered in corners. Scientists stared at data feeds with pale faces. Soldiers tightened their grips on rifles that suddenly felt useless. Ethan Cole stood near the edge of the room, arms crossed, jaw tight. "They didn't come to meet us," he muttered. "They came to measure us." Beside him, Lieutenant Dana. Reyes nodded. "Yeah, and we're short." A few meters away, Ambassador Rachel Moore met with her team. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp, angry even. "They want us to sign the Zalari Accord," she said. "That means full compliance with their laws, their military oversight, and no independent defense." Colonel James Holloway frowned. "So basically we hand over control of our planet." Rachel gave a small, bitter smile. "More or less." Behind them, Rear Admiral Karen Bell watched the conversation unfold without speaking. She had already seen this play out in her mind a dozen times. The Varkari didn't need to conquer Earth, not yet. They only needed to convince humanity that resistance was pointless. She turned to Dr. Lena Cruz, who stood quietly beside her. "Did they see anything?" Karen asked. Lena shook her head. "No. We kept all Aegis data off the main systems. They don't know what we've built." Karen exhaled slowly. "Good. But it won't stay that way for long." Thus, on Earth. Across the world, reactions to the Varkari's display varied wildly. In some places, people cheered. News networks ran headlines like, "Earth joins the galactic community. Humanity steps into the stars." But in others, fear took root. Protests broke out in cities from Berlin to Beijing. Some feared invasion. Others feared losing control of their governments. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. Claims that the aliens were lying, that they were planning something far worse than anyone imagined. In Washington, D.C., President Ai said, Marcus Grant called an emergency meeting of the Joint Chiefs. "We can't let them dictate our future," he said. "We agreed to show our strength, not surrender it." One general spoke up. "Sir, with respect, and we don't have the firepower to say no." Another added, "If we resist, they'll crush us." President Grant looked around the room. "I'm not asking for war," he said. "I'm asking for options." Silence followed. Then from the back of the room, Rear Admiral Karen Bell stepped forward. "We have one," she said. All eyes turned to her. "We've been working on a new class of warship," she continued. "It's not ready for full deployment, but it's real. And if we reveal it now, maybe we can change the game." Dr. Lena Cruz stepped beside her. "We reverse-engineered alien tech recovered from the Martian meteor crash. Our ships are faster, smarter, and more resilient than anything we've ever built." President Grant studied them both. "You're saying we have a chance?" Karen nodded. "Not to win a war, not yet, but to make them think twice about treating us like children." Grant leaned back in his chair. "Do it," he said finally. "Prepare the reveal. Let's hear the hidden fleet." Deep beneath the surface of the moon, in a hidden lunar base known as Site Echo 9, engineers worked around the clock. Inside massive dry docks carved into ancient rock, the first 4 Aegis-class warships sat in silence. Each ship was sleek and dark, shaped like a blade. Its hull was made of adaptive alloy, able to shift density based on threat level. Its engines used a hybrid fusion plasma drive, giving it unmatched speed and stealth. Most importantly, each Aegis was controlled by an AI core unlike anything humans had ever created. Faster than any pilot, smarter than any commander, it could calculate thousands of variables in milliseconds. The ships were not meant to be revealed yet, but now time had run out. Inside the command center, Commander Mara Cole reviewed final launch checks. She was Ethan's older sister, calm, focused, and deadly when needed. Her crew stood ready behind her. "All systems green," said Chief Engineer Jonas Reed. "We're good to go." Mara nodded. "Launch sequence initiated. Prepare for departure." Outside, the docking bay doors opened slowly. Beyond them, space stretched endlessly. With a quiet hum, the lead Aegis ship powered up. Its lights flickered to life. Engines warmed. And then, like a shadow slipping free of night, the ship rose and vanished into the stars. Back on Liberty 1, news of the Aegis project hadn't reached the Varkari. Not yet. Vark stood on the observation deck watching Earth below. His insectoid eyes reflected the blue light of the planet. "This species is weak," he said to one of his aides. "They do not understand their place." The aide, another Varkari named Zelva, bowed slightly. "They may surprise you." Vark clicked his mandibles together, a sound that passed for amusement. "They will learn," he said. Behind them, the human delegation approached. Ambassador Moore led the group, flanked by Karen Bell and several other officials. "We request." "Another demonstration," Rachel said. Vark tilted his head. "You have already shown your ships." Rachel smiled politely. "Now it's our turn." There was a pause. Then Karen spoke. "We have a new class of vessel. It has not been tested publicly." Vark narrowed his eyes. "And you wish to show it now?" Karen nodded. "Yes." The alien envoy studied her face. Then he turned to his aide. "Very well," he said. "Let us see what you have." "This turn true." The reveal begins. Within hours, preparations were underway. The Aegis fleet arrived in high orbit above Earth. From the outside, they looked like ghosts, silent, fast, and nearly invisible on standard sensors. At the designated time, the human delegation gathered on the observation deck of Liberty 1. The Varkari joined them. Below, the sky lit up. The Aegis ships moved in perfect formation. They danced between satellites, performed impossible turns, and fired test shots that sliced cleanly through asteroid debris without leaving a trace. Then came the real test. A series of drone targets were launched, fast, agile, and equipped, with simulated weapons. The Aegis ships responded instantly. AI-guided railguns fired with pinpoint accuracy. Plasma shields absorbed incoming fire. Maneuvers were executed so quickly, human pilots would have blacked out trying to follow them. The entire demonstration lasted less than 10 minutes. When it ended, the room was silent. Even the Varkari did not speak. Finally, Vark turned to Karen. "That technology," he began. Karen met his gaze. "Yes," she said. "We learned from your wreckage, and we improved it." Vark expression was unreadable. Then he spoke again. "You hide things from us." Karen didn't deny it. "We protect ourselves," she said simply. For the first time since their arrival, the Varkari looked uncertain. Aftermath. Back on Earth, news of the Aegis demonstration spread like wildfire. People celebrated. Scientists cheered. Soldiers stood taller. And somewhere deep inside a secure facility, a new message was sent to every major government on the planet. It read, "Humanity does not beg for peace. Humanity earns it." The success of the Aegis demonstration had sent shockwaves through both human and alien ranks. On Liberty 1, the mood was tense. The Varkari delegation had gone silent after watching the warships slice through targets with near-perfect precision. Even their high envoy, Vark had no immediate response. Back on Earth, the news spread fast. People who once feared being ruled by aliens now felt something else: pride. For the first time since the Varkari arrived, humanity looked strong. But behind closed doors, Rear Admiral Karen Bell knew this was only the beginning. Inside a secure military facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, she met with a small group of scientists, engineers, and military leaders. "We showed them what we have," Karen said. "Now we need to make sure they understand how we got it." Dr. Lena Cruz, lead scientist on the Aegis project, nodded. "They know we studied alien tech," Lena said, "but they don't know how deep we went." Karen turned to the others. "It started in 2038, she said, with the Martian meteor crash." Flashback. The Martian meteor crash, 2038. It began with a streak across the sky. Not a normal meteor, not even close. This object fell too slow, too controlled. When it hit the surface of Mars, it left a crater nearly 2 kilometers wide. NASA's probes were the first to investigate. What they found stunned the world. It wasn't a rock. It was wreckage. A piece of an alien ship, shattered, burned, but still full of secrets. Governments kept it quiet at first, but soon teams from around the world were working together in secret labs, trying to understand what they had found. Among them was a young engineer named Dr. Lena Cruz. She remembered the day she first touched the alien hull. It didn't feel like metal, she told the room. It felt alive. The material reacted to touch, to heat, even to sound. It could change shape, absorb energy, and repair itself. It was unlike anything humans had ever built. Over the years, scientists reverse-engineered bits of the tech. They learned how alien ships moved, how they protected themselves, and most importantly, how they fought. From that knowledge, the Aegis project was born. Building the future. At first, it was just theory. Engineers tried to copy what they saw in the wreckage. Some ideas failed. Others barely worked. But slowly they made progress. They discovered new ways to power engines, new materials for armor, and most importantly, new kinds of weapons. One of the biggest breakthroughs came from AI research. The alien systems used artificial intelligence far beyond anything humans had created. Unlike human AIs, which followed commands, these systems learned, adapted, and predicted enemy moves before they happened. Lena and her team spent years building their own version. They called it Project Sentry. Unlike older battle computers, Sentry didn't just follow orders, and it made decisions. It calculated thousands of variables in seconds. It could pilot a ship, aim weapons, and coordinate attacks without human input. And it worked, better than anyone expected. Once Sentry was complete, the real work began. Building the Aegis-class warships was not easy. Most of the parts had to be made from scratch. Factories had to be rebuilt. Workers trained. Secrecy was total. Even the U.S. Congress didn't know everything. Only a few people did. Among them was Commander Mara Cole. She had been chosen to lead the Aegis test program because of her experience, skill, and most of all, her ability to keep secrets. "I remember the first time I saw one up close," Mara said during the meeting. "It looked like a shadow, like something that wasn't meant to be seen." Karen looked at her. "You weren't scared?" Mara smiled. "A little," she admitted, "but mostly excited." The moon base. Most of the Aegis fleet was built in secret, not on Earth but on the moon. Beneath the surface, inside a massive underground base known as Site-Echo 9, engineers constructed the warships away from prying eyes. The location was perfect. No atmosphere meant no air resistance. Lower gravity made lifting heavy parts easier. And best of all, nobody could see what was happening. Inside Site-Echo 9, the construction process was unlike anything ever done before. Robots handled most of the work. Human engineers oversaw them, making sure each part met exacting standards. Every ship was tested in secret. Every system checked twice, and every detail was hidden. Fake data was fed into public records. False reports were leaked to the press. Even some government officials believed the Aegis project was still theoretical. Only when the ships were ready did the truth come out. And now, with the Varkari watching, humanity had shown them what it could do. But the question remained, what would the aliens do next? On Liberty 1. Vark, Tel stood alone on the observation deck staring at Earth below. Beside him, his aide Zelva watched in silence. Finally, the high envoy spoke. "They are not what I expected," he said. Zelva tilted his head slightly. "You thought they were weak." "I did," Vark Tel admitted. Now I'm not so sure. He turned to face his aide. They learned quickly, he continued. Too quickly. Zelva hesitated before speaking. They may surprise us again. Varktel clicked his mandibles. A sound that passed for amusement. Perhaps, he said. Or perhaps they will learn the cost of overreaching. He looked back at Earth. This species has potential, he said. But potential must be guided, controlled. Zelva did not respond. He simply bowed and walked away. Back on Earth. In a quiet corner of Site Echo 9, Ethan Cole stood. Beside his sister Mara. They had grown up together but rarely got time to talk like this. Ethan looked at the newest Aegis ship. Sleek, dark, and deadly. I can't believe we built this, he said. Mara smirked. We did more than build it, we improved it. Ethan shook his head. I never thought I'd see the day when humans matched aliens. Mara looked at him. We didn't match them, she said. We beat them. Ethan frowned. Do you think they'll let us get away with that? Mara crossed her arms. They better, she said. Because if they try to take this from us? She trailed off. Ethan finished the sentence for her. We won't go quietly. Mara nodded. No, she said, we won't. Nar. The next step. Later that night, Karen Bell sat in her office reviewing reports. The Aegis demonstration had shaken the Varkari. That much was clear. But what came next? Would they respect humanity now? Or would they see this as a threat? Karen didn't know. But she knew one thing. Humans had proven they could stand up. Now they had to prove they could stay standing. She picked up a secure phone and dialed. Yes, she said into the receiver. Begin phase 2. We're not hiding anymore. A new era begins. Across the world, preparations were already underway. More Aegis ships were being built. New weapons were being tested. Training programs expanded. And for the first time, in history, nations began sharing military tech freely, not out of fear but out of trust. Humanity had entered a new age, not as subjects, not as students, but as equals. The day had come. On Liberty 1, the massive orbital station that floated above Earth, preparations were in full swing. Engineers ran final checks, soldiers stood guard, diplomats reviewed their notes one last time. This wasn't just another meeting. It was a statement, and humanity was ready to make it. Outside the station's observation deck, the sky was dark and endless. Stars glittered like dust, and between them the alien ships hovered, sleek, silent, and deadly. But now, for the first time, they weren't alone. Beside them, 4 Aegis-class warships floated in formation. Their black hulls blended into space, making them almost invisible. They didn't need flashy lights or loud engines. They were quiet, deadly, real. Inside, Liberty 1. Rear Admiral Karen Bell stood with her team. She wore her uniform proudly, but her face was calm, focused. Beside her, Dr. Lena Cruz checked her tablet. Every system on the Aegis fleet was green. Commander Mara Cole stood nearby, arms crossed, eyes locked on the screen. They're watching, she said quietly. Karen nodded. Let them. Across the room, Lieutenant Ethan Cole paced nervously. He wasn't a scientist, not a pilot, just a soldier assigned to security. But today felt different. Today, he wasn't just protecting people, he was part of something bigger. Do you think they'll be impressed? He asked Dana Reyes, his fellow officer. Dana smirked. I think they'll be scared. Ethan looked at the screen again. The Varkari delegation arrived soon after. Varktel led the group, flanked by 6 armored guards. His insect-like body moved with unnatural grace. His 4 eyes scanned the room as if already calculating every possible outcome. Ambassador Rachel Moore greeted him politely. We thank you for allowing this demonstration, she said. Varktel tilted his head slightly. We are curious to see what else you have hidden. Rachel smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You may be surprised. The demonstration begins. Outside, the test zone was set up. Floating drones hovered in place. Asteroids were placed in orbit. Simulated enemy ships appeared on radar. Everything was ready. Mara sat inside the command center of the lead Aegis ship, the Aegis Prime. Her crew was small, but experienced. All systems online, said Chief Engineer Jonas Reed. Mara nodded. Begin Maneuver 1. With a soft hum, the Aegis Prime moved forward. It didn't blast off like older human ships. It simply vanished from its spot and reappeared farther ahead. The alien observers leaned closer to the window. That's not possible, one muttered. Yes, it is, Karen said calmly. We made it happen. From the control panel, Mara guided the Aegis fleet through a series of complex maneuvers. They danced around satellites, dodged incoming drone attacks, and fired precision shots that sliced cleanly through targets. Each move was faster than the last. Then came the real test, a live-fire drill. Targets were launched, fast-moving drones designed to mimic enemy fighters. The Aegis ships responded instantly. Railguns fired with pinpoint accuracy. Plasma shields absorbed simulated energy blasts. AI-controlled weapons tracked enemies before they even fired. It was like watching ghosts fight. Even the Varkari couldn't hide their shock. Back inside Liberty 1, silence filled the room. Then Varktel spoke. You built this? Karen met his gaze. We did, she said. From scratch. Varktel clicked his mandibles together, a sound that passed for surprise. Impressive, he admitted. Karen didn't smile. She knew better than to take praise from an alien who had come here to measure Earth's strength. It's more than impressive, she said. It's proof. Varktel tilted his head. Proof of what? Karen stepped forward. That we don't need your protection, she said. That we can protect ourselves. For the first time since their arrival, the Varkari didn't have a quick response. The aftermath. Back on Earth, the world watched the footage unfold. News channels replayed the battle simulations. Scientists broke down the tech. Military analysts debated what it meant. People cheered. In cities across the globe, crowds gathered in public squares. Some waved flags. Others held signs. Earth stands tall. We are not weak. Humanity is ready. For years, humans had feared being ruled by aliens. Now, for the first time, they saw themselves as equals. Even the military took notice. In Washington, D.C., President Marcus Grant called another emergency meeting. This changes everything, he said. General Thomas Brooks, head of the Joint Chiefs, nodded. It does, he agreed. We've proven we can stand up to them. Now we have to decide what comes next. Karen Bell stood beside them. We keep building, she said. We keep improving. We show them we won't back down. President Grant looked at her. What do you recommend? Karen didn't hesitate. We form a new defense pact, she said. Not just for Earth, for the stars. Brooks raised an eyebrow. You're saying we should expand our military beyond Earth? Karen nodded. We're not just protecting our planet anymore, she said. We're protecting our place in the galaxy. Grant studied her for a long moment. Then he gave the order. Start drafting the plan, he said. We build a fleet that can go anywhere. Fight anyone. On Liberty 1. Later that night, Varktel met with his top advisors in a private chamber. They were all silent. Finally, Zelva, his aide, spoke. They are stronger than we thought, he said. Varktel clicked his mandibles again. They are dangerous, he said. More dangerous than any young species should be. Zelva hesitated. What do we do? Varktel looked out the window at Earth below. We watch, he said. We learn. And we decide whether they are allies. He paused. Or threats. Back on Earth. At Site Echo 9, the lunar base where the Aegis ships were built, work continued late into the night. Engineers ran new tests. Pilots trained for deep space missions. Scientists worked on upgrades. And in the middle of it all, Mara Cole stood beside her brother, Ethan. They looked out at the newest Aegis ship, the Aegis Vanguard. It was bigger, faster, more advanced. "We're not done yet," Mara said. Ethan looked at her. "No," he agreed. "We're just getting started." Mara turned to him. "Do you remember when we used to play war games as kids?" she asked. Ethan grinned. "Yeah, you always beat me." Mara smirked. "Still do." Ethan shook his head. "Maybe," he said. "But this isn't a game anymore." Mara looked back at the ship. "No," she said. "It never was." Saunter. A new chapter. Back on Earth, the United Nations announced the formation of the Terran Stellar Defense Pact, a new alliance between Earth's nations to protect humanity's interests in space. New bases were planned on the Moon, Mars, and even near Jupiter. The Aegis program expanded, training programs grew, and for the first time in history, humans began preparing for battles far beyond their own planet, not because they wanted war, but because they knew respect had to be earned, and they had just proven they could earn it. The galaxy had taken notice. After the Aegis demonstration, Earth was no longer seen as a weak or primitive world, no longer a planet to be controlled or watched from afar. Now, humanity was something else entirely, a rising power. Across the stars, alien civilizations debated what this meant. Some saw humans as a new force to respect. Others saw them as a threat to contain. And a few, the smart ones, began looking for ways to work with them. On Liberty One, Rear Admiral Karen Bell sat in a high-level meeting with diplomats, scientists, and military leaders. The station was quieter now, but tension still lingered, in the air. "They're not leaving," said Ambassador Rachel Moore, flipping through reports on her tablet. "But they're not attacking either." Karen nodded. "They're watching. Waiting." Colonel James Holloway leaned forward. "What do we do if they decide we're too dangerous?" Karen looked out the window at Earth below. "Then we prove we're too strong to control." Behind her, Dr. Lena Cruz spoke up. "We've already received messages from other species," she said. "Some are offering alliances. Others want to trade tech." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "Who?" Lena tapped her screen. A list appeared. "The Karathi," she said. "They're a warrior race that values strength above all else. They sent a message saying they'd like to train with our soldiers." Karen smirked. "I can see that going well." "And then there's the Yalari," Lena continued. "They're peaceful traders. They offered us access to their hyperspace routes." Rachel looked surprised. "That's huge. That means we could travel faster than ever." Karen stood up. "This is it," she said. "This is the moment we've been waiting for. We proved we can stand up to the Varkari. Now we have a chance to shape our future." Rachel smiled. "We just need to make sure we don't blow it." Results. Back on Earth. In Washington, D.C., President Marcus Grant called a joint session of Congress. For the first time in history, the entire world was watching. Inside the chamber, representatives from every nation sat together. Scientists, military leaders, and even civilians were present. This wasn't just a political meeting, it was a turning point. President Grant stepped up to the podium. "Today," he began, "we stand at the edge of a new era." He looked around the room. "For years we feared what lay beyond our world. We thought we were alone. Then came the Varkari, and for a time, we believed they would rule over us." He paused. "But we proved them wrong." There was a murmur of agreement. "We built ships stronger than theirs, weapons smarter than theirs. And we did it not by copying them, but by improving on what we learned." He looked directly into the camera. "Humanity does not beg for peace. Humanity earns it." The crowd erupted into applause. When it quieted down, Grant continued. "From today forward, we will no longer be seen as a young species needing guidance. We are a force to be reckoned with." He turned to Karen Bell, who stood nearby. "We are forming the Terran Stellar Defense Pact," he announced, "a united defense force that will protect Earth, its people, and our place among the stars." More applause followed. Grant held up a hand. "This isn't about war," he said. "It's about respect, about proving that we belong here, that we are ready." He ended with one final line. "Earth does not kneel." And with that, the room exploded into cheers. The Varkari react. On their command ship orbiting far above Earth, Varktel met with his top advisors. They were not happy. "This changes everything," said Zelva, his aide. Varktel clicked, his mandibles together in a sound that passed for frustration. "I warned you," he said. "Humans learn fast. Adapt faster." Zelva bowed slightly. "Do we act against them?" Varktel studied the reports on his screen. "No," he said after a long pause. "Not yet." Zelva blinked. "You mean?" Varktel looked at him. "They have proven themselves," he said. "Now we must decide whether they are allies or enemies." Zelva hesitated before speaking again. "What if they become both?" Varktel tilted his head. "A possibility," he admitted. "One we must prepare for." He turned back to the main display. "We will watch," he said. "We will learn. And when the time comes," he paused, "we will decide." Training begins. At Site Echo 9, the lunar base where the Aegis fleet was built, training was already underway. New recruits arrived daily: pilots, engineers, soldiers, and scientists. Commander Mara Cole oversaw much of the program. She was strict, demanding, but fair. "You don't get to fly an Aegis unless you earn it," she told a group of cadets during orientation. One recruit raised his hand. "Ma'am, what happens if we fail?" Mara crossed her arms. "Then you go home," she said, "or you die trying." The room fell silent. She scanned their faces. "This isn't a game," she said. "Out there in space, there's no second chances. You either fight or you fall." She stepped forward. "But if you work hard, stay sharp, and trust your team," she smirked, "you might just live to see the stars." Lieutenant Ethan Cole stood nearby watching his sister speak. He felt proud of her, proud of what they were building, proud to be human. First contact. Again. Weeks later, the first joint exercise between humans and aliens took place. It wasn't a battle. Not yet. It was a test. The Korathi had agreed to train with Earth's forces. They were known for their brutal combat style, unmatched discipline, and deep respect for warriors. Their leader, Warlord Graktor, stood nearly 7 feet tall, covered in heavy armor and scars. He looked at the assembled human troops and grunted. "These are your best?" he asked. Mara stepped forward. "They are," she said simply. Graktor studied her face. Then he smiled, a terrifying sight. "Let's see if they bleed like real fighters." The training began. Over the next few days, humans and Korathi trained side by side. Hand-to-hand combat, weapon drills, tactical simulations. By the end, more than a few humans were bruised, but so were the Korathi. And when the last drill ended, Graktor clapped Mara on the shoulder. "You fight like warriors," he said. "I respect that." Mara grinned. "We're just getting started." Looking forward. Back on Earth, the Terran Stellar Defense Pact grew quickly. New bases were being built on Mars and near Jupiter. More Aegis ships were under construction. Diplomats worked tirelessly to build alliances with other alien species. Humanity was no longer just defending its own world. It was preparing for the future. A future among the stars. In a quiet office, in Washington, Karen Bell sat alone reading reports. She knew the hardest battles were still ahead. But for now, Earth had done what many thought impossible. It had earned its place. Karen stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the sky was clear. Above it, the stars waited, and somewhere out there, the galaxy was watching. The stars no longer belonged to aliens. They were humanity's frontier now. In the months following the Aegis demonstration, Earth had stepped fully into the galactic stage. No longer seen as a weak or primitive species, humans were now viewed with a mix of respect, caution, and curiosity. Diplomatic offers poured in from distant civilizations. Some wanted trade, others sought alliances. A few watched in silence, trying to decide if humans were friends or future enemies. But one thing was clear: Earth was no longer alone, and it wasn't backing down. New alliances. On Liberty. 1. Rear Admiral Karen Bell reviewed the latest reports from across the solar system and beyond. The Terran Stellar Defense Pact was growing fast. New bases had been established on Mars and Europa. Mining operations on asteroids were already supplying materials for more warships and space stations. Dr. Lena Cruz stood beside her, flipping through data on her tablet. "We've got 5 more. Aegis-class ships ready by next month," she said. "And that's just the beginning." Karen nodded, her eyes scanning the list of new recruits. "Good. We'll need them." Lena looked at her. "You think something's coming?" Karen didn't answer right away. She looked out the window at Earth below. "I think we're being watched," she finally said, "by everyone." She wasn't wrong. Across the galaxy, alien factions were debating what to do about the rise of Earth. Some saw humans as dangerous upstarts who needed control. Others saw potential allies. One race in particular had taken special interest. The Varkari Varktel still lingered in orbit, though his fleet had mostly withdrawn. He hadn't declared peace, nor had he threatened war. He simply watched, waiting to see what Earth would do next. Karen knew better than to assume they were safe. Humans had earned their place. Now, they had to keep it. First missions beyond the solar system. The first joint mission between humans and an alien species launched quietly. It was not a battle. Not yet. It was a test. The Yalari, a peaceful trading species known for their advanced hyperspace technology, had invited Earth to help defend a trade convoy traveling through hostile territory. It was a chance to prove humans could be trusted. Commander Mara Cole led the mission aboard the Aegis Prime, joined by a small team of soldiers, pilots, and scientists. As the convoy traveled through deep space, the crew trained non-stop. Ethan Cole, now assigned to full-time duty aboard the Aegis Prime, stood near the observation deck and stared into the void. He thought about how far they'd come just months ago. He was guarding a command station, unsure if Earth would survive first contact. Now he was flying among the stars, part of a force that could hold its own against any enemy. Beside him, Lieutenant Dana Reyes leaned against the rail. "You thinking about home?" she asked. Ethan shook his head. "No," he said. "I'm thinking about the future." Dana smirked. "You sound like your sister." He laughed. "She's the one who taught me to fight for it." Outside, the convoy moved steadily forward. Then the alert came. "Contact detected," said the AI voice over the comms. "Unknown hostiles approaching." Mara's voice followed. "All hands, prepare for combat." The mission had begun. Back on Earth. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., President Marcus Grant met with top military leaders. The world had changed, and so had its needs. "We can't stay locked inside our own system forever, General," Thomas Brooks said. "We need a presence beyond the solar system." President Grant nodded. "That's why we're forming the Terran Expeditionary Corps," he announced. "Our first permanent military base outside Earth will be built on Proxima Centauri b." There was silence. "That's nearly 4 light years away," someone whispered. Grant smiled. "Exactly. That proves we're serious." Behind him, Karen Bell stepped forward. "This isn't just about defense," she added. "It's about expansion, about proving that we belong here, in space." Rachel Moore, now serving as Earth's chief diplomat, cleared her throat. "We've already begun talks with the Karathi," she said. "They want to form a joint defense treaty." Brooks raised an eyebrow. "They respect us?" Rachel nodded. Fear us, she corrected, which is close enough. Karen grinned. Fear is a good start. What are you on? The message. Later that night, a message arrived from a distant system. No name, no flag. Just coordinates and a video file. Inside the Pentagon's secure command center, Karen and her team watched the playback. The screen lit up with the image of a tall figure, wrapped in dark armor. Its face was hidden behind a glowing visor. When it spoke, the voice was cold, calm, and heavy with meaning. We have seen what you did to the Varkari. We have seen what you built. And now we ask, are you warriors, or are you prey? The figure paused. We are the Zarek. We are at war with the Threll Dominion. If you wish to prove yourselves, join us. Fight with us, or step aside. The screen went black. Silence filled the room. Karen turned to Rachel. What do we tell them? Rachel didn't hesitate. We tell them yes. Karen looked at Lena. And what do we send? Lena smiled. The Aegis fleet. Karen looked around the room. One by one, every leader nodded. This was it. This was the moment. Humanity's first real test beyond Earth. Not diplomacy, not defense, war. But this time, on their terms. Final scene. Back aboard the Aegis Prime. The mission was over. The convoy had reached its destination safely. The unknown hostiles had retreated when the Aegis fleet showed strength. Mara stood on the observation deck watching the stars move past the ship. Ethan walked up beside her. You scared? He asked. Mara didn't look at him. No, she said. I'm excited. He raised an eyebrow. Really? She turned to face him. Yeah, she said, because for the first time in history we're not just surviving, we're leading. Ethan looked out at the stars again. We're not just protecting Earth anymore, he said. Mara nodded. No, she agreed. We're shaping the future. She tapped her earpiece. All ships, prepare for jump. The Aegis fleet lined up. Engines hummed, stars stretched, and then, like shadows slipping through the night, the human warships vanished into the unknown. In the darkness of space, a new era had begun. Epilogue. Words etched in steel. Months. Later, on the hull of every new Aegis-class ship, these words were engraved. Earth does not kneel. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the galaxy, those words would soon be tested.